Records will be on the line for Manchester United as we do take on Coventry at Wembley this Sunday in the FA Cup semi-final. It is the first time Manchester United could make it to a consecutive final in the FA Cup since 2004, 2005. Well, that would be an interesting one to break, but we've got to beat this Coventry team. Meanwhile, we are record setters. We have so far tallied with Arsenal as the two teams that have reached the FA Cup final for the most number of times, 21 apiece. And if we do make it past Coventry, it will be a new record set by the Red Devils. 22 is what we will be counting. But one record that we already have pocketed is we are 2 games ahead of any other team in the history of the competition in the semi-finals, because United has played 32 semi-finals in this big competition, the oldest football competition ever recorded. Well, certainly it shows you why we are legends of the beautiful game. My name is Webb. Welcome to the United of Sport. It is a quick catch up and update on our team news ahead of that trip to Coventry. Now, remember, a lot is on the line for Manchester United. First of all, this is the only hope for a trophy we have in this extremely forgettable season. If we do make it past Coventry, already we'll be back in the final. We lost in the final of the FA Cup against Man City last time. Most likely, we are hoping this time around we get better of ourselves and make it to the other end and cross the line and win the title. And what would that mean if United won the FA Cup title and we did finish seventh in the Premier League? Would that be success for Manchester United? I'm leaving for you. But let's get proper into the team news because Anthony Dos Santos was smiling ear to ear as he returned to training yesterday. That was on Tuesday, and he's expected to be in the team. Remember, he got a late injury and was an omission from the team that drew against Liverpool in our last game. So it's obviously a big boost to the team and our attack as Erik Ten Hag continues with his rotation, hoping that it could help us push for the best we can this season despite having so many injuries to several players. Now, speaking of the injured players, Johnny Evans, Erik Ten Hag said his injury was not so serious, but tomorrow he will be giving us a pre-match unofficial address, of course, in his pre-match talk to let us know about the status of these players. So is Victor Lindelof, of course, is out of the team for a long time. Scott McTominay is the one we could be hoping might return because he was, in any case, pushing to return for the Liverpool game that we played the last time, but he was not able to make it. But the one important player in the FA Cup now is Mad Diallo. And boy, the boy is looking happy. You saw him there in that image that I posted in the thumbnail, and oh, the smile, smiling beatifically as he do hopes that he will be given a chance probably to start. Honestly, for me, if there's one thing I would love to see is how Amad Diallo performs when he starts in a game of football. There are players who are very good when they start. You might find that he's one of those players, but we wouldn't know if he's not given the opportunity to start. There are players who will come, play the first half, their hearts out, and give you all the impact they can. Then they capitulate towards the end of the game. Maybe Ahmad is that player, but how can we find out if we don't give him a chance to start? I'm hoping that Erik Ten Hag can go ahead and this time around give the Ivory Coast international a chance to start a game of football for Manchester United. But again, a lot is surrounding, of course, the team. We do know that Casemiro, I think the talk for Casemiro now is for a replacement for him. But the reality is he will be another important player. Now, Erik Ten Hag, again, guys, we can talk about the rotation and we've got to put our priorities clear. Honestly, for me, I think at this point, you would rather you give a lot to the FA Cup because the reality is there is not so much for us to expect from the English Premier League. My thinking is to end the season honorably, and we might actually end the season better than Arsenal. I think what we need to do is focus on the FA Cup, put our best players in the FA Cup, because that's our chance, our only chance for a title. So what do? Bring all the big guns against Coventry and leave them for dead. Destroy them, batter them in the first minutes of the game, then manage the game for the most part of it. That's what I expect Man United to do. But if we go into this rotation, deep rotation, I mean, I don't see what it ends at. Eric Ten Hag might want to bring the Amrabat, start Amrabat, play, Harry Amas, all these nobodies. Well, I don't think he will do that really anyway. I don't think he will do that. He will be insane to do that. But the reality is, we do need all our best players in the FA Cup. You put your best resources where your biggest your biggest chances. That's what you do. That's a management, a style of management. Put your best resources where your best opportunities are. Our best opportunity this season is in the FA Cup. And by the way, we might end the selling better than Arsenal because, listen, Arsenal most likely will be ejected out of the UEFA Champions League by Bayern. Well, Man United fans like I would be hoping for that to happen. Arsenal is never going to catch Man City when it comes to the Premier League title. Liverpool might try, but even Liverpool are looking out of sorts. So honestly, Arsenal and the Premier League, they might have to wait a little longer. So Man City, for me, are taking this Premier League title. So that is out. Now, if it ended that Arsenal finished third in the Premier League and were knocked out in the Champions League at the semi-final stage, if that happened, they were knocked out, okay, at the quarterfinal. If they are knocked out tonight at the quarterfinal, even at the semi-final, if they manage to navigate past Bayern and they're beaten at the next stage, if that were the case, and Man United wins the FA Cup but finishes say, seventh or sixth in the Premier League, who would be the more successful team? Would it be Arsenal or would it be Man United? Would we be celebrating and going at them because they are fit on their lips, just not fit enough to win titles, but they are good talkers. They are very good talkers. They wax lyrical. So would we feel proud and say we did better than Arsenal because we have won a major title? FA Cup is a major title, guarantees you a place in the Europa League. At least that would be a better entry into the Europa League than finishing outside the top four and then going into all these disrespectful respectful positions, which we might as well not be good enough for. So, how would you then rate our season? Drop in the comment section and let me know what you think. If United won the FA Cup, finished seventh in the Premier League, Arsenal does within the Premier League and fails at the semi-final of the Champions League, who would be which fans would have the right to shout more than the others? We are the most vocal. Arsenal and Man U fans, I think we are the most vocal fans globally. What would be the story for you? Let me know what you think. Just drop a comment there. But there you go. Of course, tomorrow, after listening to Erik Ten Hag, his first interview before the game, we'll probably come here and talk a little about the team and who we expect to start. But the reality is, it's Coventry, guys. It's Coventry. We cannot afford to lose against Coventry. Honestly, it can't happen. We cannot afford to lose against them. We've got to be already thinking of the opponent we'll face in the final. That's the thought we should be having now. We cannot be thinking Coventry. We must destroy them in the first minutes of the game so that we keep players for the next Premier League games, which are a little important for some people. For me, the next Premier League games are for me a thing of formality for me. Because with the way we performed poorly across the whole season, I don't really care. These 6 games are not going to get me so energized and eager for what's going to happen. They won't. So whatever the case, whatever happens there, we just need to go back on the drawing board and reorganize. I'm hoping that we don't make it to the Champions League places. We do not deserve to be in the Champions League. Honestly, I'm a fan of this club. You all know it. But I think the reality is we've got to be real at times. You've got to be humble. Go down if you're going to go up. Sometimes you've got to go down if you're going to come up. If you're not humble and you try to keep yourself up, force yourself up, all the time, it's not good because to really do the things that you need to do to come back up. So for me, I think we need to swallow humble pie and accept we are not good enough for the Champions League. But of course, we are not as bad as the Conference League. That's why I'm saying we can win the FA Cup and play in the Europa League. Yes, at least that would be okay. So that's my honest 2 cents. My name is Webb. This is the United of Sport. That's the early team news for you. I'll be back with more of it tomorrow and, of course, the days to come. Subscribe to the United of Sport and let me catch you later, fam.